Yo, what's up there, guys? Alex here from Elite Football Conditioning again, and today I want to take you through one of my favourite exercises, but also a really good training method for actually developing more speed, more power, and generally more force. So I've spoken a lot about being strong and the need to be strong to be able to improve performance on the pitch and generate more power, more force into the ground, to be quicker, to accelerate out your change of direction better, to get past your opponent. And really, this exercise and this little training method is a perfect way to train everything on that speed strength curve to maximize that power development. So what we're going to look at here is the sled pull. So first and foremost, it's actually a great exercise for just performing as a warm-up. So I've just come into the gym cold. I haven't done anything yet. This is going to be my first exercise. And if you're looking at, developing single leg strength and push off power, then this is one of those perfect unilateral exercises. It's a great alternative to just lunging or to just doing sort of more squats and things like that. Relatively sport specific in the sense that you are pushing off one leg, you are working your acceleration angle. So if you remember back to one of the videos I recorded the other week where we were doing sprints or sprint drill positioning in the rack, working on driving out, getting the correct angle at the knee, the ankle and the hip, this is something that is going to add another layer to that. So this will mimic those exact same positions. It'll allow you to keep that forward body lean, and you can practice that same step and that same positioning to be able to generate that power. And there are a couple of different little ways that we can do this exercise to help train different qualities. So it will also let us kind of look at pulling both ways. So we're going to be driving forwards, but we can also pull whilst leaning backwards as well, which will kind of mimic in a little way a bit of the deceleration technique, which I'm not going to go into too much today. For now, we're just going to make do with pulling this and introducing the contrast set training method. So first and foremost, what a contrast set is, I don't think I've explained that yet. We're going to be working heavy exercise where we're looking at strength, we're looking at a high amount of force, and then we're going to be looking at a speed-based exercise, which is either going to be lighter, it's going to be more bodyweight related, it's going to be fast and explosive. So we're training strength on one end of the curve, then we're training our power or our speed at the other end of the curve to maximize our power through the middle. So let's get into it. Now, the first thing with this, get a good amount of weight on the sled, build up to it, work into that. We're going to have the handles by your butt. Then you're going to get that forward lean position. We're going to look at those acceleration angles that you should be in as per usual. So, in fact, what I'm going to do is move you. We're going to have a little look from the side so you can actually see what I'm talking about here. If I stop banging into stuff. There we go. So we should be able to see this, right? So this is what I'm talking about. So good body lean. We've got a straight angle through that back leg, and that angle through the front leg, we've got a good positive shin angle with that knee at 90 degrees, so we can just drive and step forwards, build momentum. So we've got short steps. And although when we're accelerating, we're not necessarily taking short steps, what we're trying to do is drive the ground away as fast and as hard as possible. In the next few reps, we can start to build up to that where we're looking at accelerating weight through the sled, and we're actually looking at driving further and further and further and faster with each step. Work up to that. The other alternative, once we've gone one way, let me double check you can see this, otherwise that's going to be a problem for the video. You'll all be shouting at me for that. There we go. So the next variation, just going to be a backward sled drag. So you're going to stay a little bit taller, you're going to be leaning the opposite way, and again just pushing away through the foot, working more terminal knee extension, and you're still extending through the hip. So once you've done your sled pull, whatever space you've got, so in here I can probably drag it up to 25-30 meters maybe, you're then going to ditch the sled and go into a sprint. 20 to 30 meter sprint, or again, whatever your space allows. It might be a 10 meter shuttle and back. perform that, have 30 to 60 seconds of rest, then go again, repeat that, and that's your contrast set. So keep doing those. Sled pull forward, sled pull backwards, into a sprint, rest and relax, that's rep number 1. Give yourself the recovery time. You might do, well, there's no real limit on how many sets you can do. If you're looking at a recovery day, and again, I say, like, you can strength train, you can train power on a recovery day. You could literally just do 2 sets of that. That's your main bulk of your recovery. Don't go into stretching, rolling, because if you can't do that on a recovery day, you're going to be very limited to when you can fit in. So possibly look at including these in your recovery session. I know I recorded some strength stuff in recovery, in my recovery session last week, so this is another option. Here's another option for you. Couple of sets if you're on your recovery. If you're on a strength day, if you're on a hard day, if you've got a couple of days off before your next play or your next train, you could do 10 sets. It's up to you. I mean, don't overbake it, but push hard. As soon as you feel like that power and that force starts to drop when you're doing your speed work. So if you were doing, like we're going to see in a moment, if you were doing squats or heavy squats into a squat jump, as soon as that squat jump starts to feel a little bit slow, a little bit weaker, you're not getting off the ground as high, that's your time to stop. So we want to be efficient, we want to be effective, we want to make sure that we are still training both ends of the curve. We're not just kind of grinding through the strength work and then being really sloppy on the speed and power, because both of these exercises, or these exercises in combination, and the training method are both designed to meet in the middle and work that power development. So let's have a look at a few other options. That's your sled drag into your sprints. Let's go. Sorry, I'm a bit out of breath, but it's just worth me mentioning, I'm mid-set. So with the heavy ass sled drag, when you are leaning forwards, a couple of additional really good things about this exercise. Number 1, you have to maintain that forward lean, and it won't let you bring your foot beyond where it should be coming for that acceleration and drive, because if you step further forward, quite simply, you'll pretty much stop and then you'll end up stood up. So if the weight is right, you have to maintain that forward lean, and you cannot cheat that exercise. The second thing, in addition, is that because you are leaning forwards and you're driving forwards, all the weight, all the force of this exercise is done whilst your muscles are shortening. Like, the only part where you're actually pulling up and forward, you're not actually doing anything in terms of and eccentric contraction, so you are massively limiting muscle damage. And it is all about force development, because you are simply bringing your leg up and forward and then pushing down into the ground where your muscles are all contracting and shortening under the tension as opposed to lengthening, which will reduce muscle damage, inflammation and soreness the next day. So you are less likely to impede your next day of training or your next day of performance on the pitch. 2 additional tips that I forgot to add there. I would have sent them out in my emails, but I thought I'd just bang them into this YouTube video for you. So there you go. All right, so hopefully that's given you a few great ideas as to a couple of little things that you could implement into your training routine, a couple of different little methods. It doesn't have to be perfect, and at your first time of doing it, you might make a little bit of a mess of it, but keep going at it. If you compare those exercises up in a similar fashion, and again, on your strength work, you're looking at 1 to 3 reps, and then your power and your speed work on that lower end of the curve, where you're looking at moving faster, you want to be looking at 3 to 6 reps, and then have a little bit of a rest period, give your body a chance to freshen up and recover, and then go again. You won't go far wrong. So have a look at implementing that. Think about doing it pretty much straight after you've warmed up, so you can maximize your level of freshness and the way that your body feels in that moment in time, rather than doing it at the end of your workout where your speed work is going to be sloppy anyway. Put this towards the beginning of your session, and then if you want to do more strength work or a little bit of bodybuilding afterwards, that's fine, go for it. But remember, if you're training like an athlete, your bodybuilding is a small part of your training. You want to be working on the things that are actually going to improve what you do on the pitch, and this is a fundamental way to do that. So being strong is first and foremost the best quality to have, and then what we're looking at layering in with the athletic training, the athletic development, is the ability to produce that strength and unlock that strength in an instant. The quicker you can do it, the more explosive you will be, and then I can guarantee you, on the pitch, on the field, whatever sport you play, that is going to be devastating. So that's what we're looking at unlocking with this training method and some of these exercises. There's loads more out there. I will be adding in a few more as we go on in the next few weeks, and if you want to check out on my Instagram, I'll make sure I'm putting them on there, and I'll also be showing a few examples of my guys who are doing the work as well. If you do it yourself, if you have a go at this, send me a video of it. I'd love to share it. I'd love to put it out there as well, and I can maybe offer you a couple of tips of advice. But get sharing your training. Let's have a look at what you're doing. And if you've got any questions, as usual, or if there's anything else that you need to know about, drop me a message and I'll make sure I record a video on that topic for you. So until next time, take no days off. Keep working hard. Let's go.